the Intercept has released some more hacked emails showing that the United Arab Emirates, and which is involved with Saudis in the war in Yemen that the U.S. has backed, is mad. This ambassador is mad that human rights organizations are calling them out on their atrocities. And here's every once in a while, the Obama White House pushed back a little bit and said, hey, wait a minute. So this UAE ambassador, Yusuf Ataba, is in these email exchanges trying to convince Robert Malley, who was then a top Middle East advisor for the Obama administration, that he's mad that Reuters is biased because one of the reporters also works for a human rights organization. So this is the state of affairs here. A wealthy oil country goes into Yemen for oil and with the Saudis, but their army isn't big enough, so we have to back them. And hey, I don't like these human rights watch groups all they talk about is human rights. It's madness. This email exchange is just madness. But let's go into a little bit about Yemen real quick. So the UAE is a key member of the Saudi-led coalition in the Yemen war, which has killed thousands of people. It's destroyed hospitals, food sources, water infrastructure, and left 7 million people on the brink of starvation. That is 7 million people on the brink of starvation. And whoa, these human rights groups are all so uppity. It's insane to me. This is how power acts. It's, this is an awful international crisis. And so we're helping create this, but then Assad using chemical weapons against his own people, that's a humanitarian crisis we need to get involved with. You see the hypocrisy in this and how ridiculous it is? First of all, Assad isn't hurting his own people. There's groups within Syria that are fighting him, like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and the U.S. is backing them. The U.S. is backing terrorist organizations just because we want Assad out of there. See how insane the U.S. is? And then this is how these wealthy Middle Eastern countries that we partner with, that don't give a shit about anything, here's what happened. Louis Charbonneau, the lead journalist on the Reuters story, had accepted a job to become UN director at the New York-based advocacy group Human Rights Watch and would leave Reuters the following month. The link to Human Rights Watch alone was enough to convince Taiba that the report was hopelessly biased. Quote, in this email exchange, "My point is some of the media coverage is biased," he wrote O'Malley in the exchange. Malley, who told The Intercept the emails were authentic but declined to comment, responded in disbelief to Otiba's email. "Seriously? Believing in human rights is a bias," he wrote. "I assume you think media coverage of the whole UN report affair was biased too." So then Otiba writes back, "You're joking, right? You actually want me to believe that a reporter who is now going to be employed by Human Rights will cover the Yemen war objectively? Please." This is insane. I can't believe they're arguing. This is like people fighting over Twitter. Like, these are two powerful people that have helped create a starvation crisis. And I mean, am I supposed to give Malley credit? Oh yeah, Malley's fighting the good fight. No, Malley, Obama helped start this. He got behind this illegal war. He put Chelsea Manning behind bars for 7 years for leaking this war, for whistleblowing it. And then it's like, boy, you don't think the human rights guy should do something? Oh man, he's biased. They're just like, it's like two wealthy people in a country club arguing, you know, and this is Mali's the good guy. This shows you exactly why. And this is the way in which the Democratic Party gets liberals to drink their Kool-Aid. So in this email exchange, see, there's Mali fighting the good fight for Human Rights Watch. But you don't understand, if you don't understand the history of our involvement in Yemen, then you're going to just think Mali's some hero fighting the good fight. But no one's saying maybe this, if a human rights organization, like no one's accusing me of human rights violations. You know, if someone's accusing you of human rights violations, nowhere in this email are they going, wow, we've created an awful situation, we should do something about it. It's like two rich people. It's like, I remember one time outside of my yoga studio, there was two rich ladies in luxury cars arguing over a parking space outside of a yoga class. Oh, and then they come in and they say namaste and they think they're so enlightened and evolved. And it's just like, it's a human rights crisis. No one, at no point, it's like no one takes responsibility for anything. We were talking about this on the Super Chat Sunday. This whole world refuses to take responsibility for anything. And like, it's unbelievable. And they're rejecting, what kind of a country rejects a human rights critic? Someone that's committing human rights violations and doesn't want to own it. Someone that won't take responsibility. That's what this is. It's like a drug dealer saying, oh man, this reporter is also now working for, a Drug-Free America organization. Oh man, I can't get a fair break here. I can't get a fair shake. I'm just trying to sell drugs and poison people and ruin people's lives. And everyone's calling me a bad guy. Like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do to get a fair shake from a journalist? Like, they're just mad. You've gotten most journalists to just go along and not even, in America, we're not even reporting the war in Yemen. No mainstream media outlet is reporting it. So of course, these guys are so arrogant that they just can say whatever they want and no one's going to question them. And the one time someone does, they're like, whoa, the media, and then they scream media bias. So if you're a journalist that doesn't go along with the corporate pro-war, pro-oil narrative, you're a rogue, fake journalist. See how that works? So read the whole article. It's unbelievable. What's going on in Yemen is unbelievable, and no one's talking about this. No one in the mainstream media is talking about this. You guys got to come to YouTube to get these kind of stories, So I would love a real progressive president to come in and say, we're done. We're not increasing wars. We're going to go from 7 wars to 0 wars. Cut the military budget in half. Take that $400 billion, put it into the infrastructure, start a Green New Deal. So, my girlfriend was just reading a thread about they're releasing, and the new Tesla Model 3 is coming out. There was 400 pre-orders, and there's a bunch of comments underneath. And one of them was from a guy like, "Hey, I drive a truck. Is there any plans of coming out with a truck to an all-electric truck? But I can't charge up every 200 and some miles. Is anyone planning that?" And then someone underneath was like, "Actually, Tesla's going to release a semi and a pickup truck." So. And we were having this discussion of like, wow, I didn't know, a guy that drives a truck that's a laborer would care about that. I'm like, yeah, they probably do. And that's a problem. Like, why, again, I know I say this, but it ties into every single goddamn story we talk about. If the Democrats were an actual progressive party and were actually about green energy, here's a guy driving a truck that wants he's like, I'm all about going green. But the liberal elite has made going green just the providence of rich people, rich college-educated liberals who can afford a $100,000 car. If you brought green technology to the middle of the country, to the working class, they would embrace it. They would have jobs from it. Because here's a guy, if you're a contractor, your number one expense, I'm guessing, is probably gas, driving your truck all over the place. So if you could cut that way down and now you're just paying an electric bill that's like 1/8 of what you were spending before, and it's better for the environment, you'd be all about it. It's all about the money. If you could show the money people save by going green and show them jobs that you could do, then we wouldn't have to sit there and have two bitches fucking argue about about a reporter calling them on an awful war that they're both contributing to. Read that bitch-ass email. It's just like watching two people argue over The Bachelor on Twitter or something like that. It's just offensive to me, the way they talk. Are you seriously complaining that, oh my God, you must be joking. Meanwhile, there's 7 million people about to starve to death on a war that you created for oil. So, real progressives and a Green New Deal, we wouldn't have this kind of bullshit, awful atrocities and greedy rich dicks, in a little slap fight on email, like the punks that they are. Robert Malley and Youssef Al-Attaba, you guys are both assholes. Yeah. You're murdering people and ruining people's lives and you both have helped create a humanitarian crisis. So yeah, you should be called out in the press. How's that sound? Maybe take some of the millions of dollars that you both make and help the food crisis? I don't know. Would that? Nah. That sounds like a bunch of hippie nonsense to me. Keep supporting the show because the mainstream media will not talk about this.